What went wrong? Cube World. Do you guys know what Cube World is? This game was the game I wanted to play for my entire life. The first time I ever watched Cube World was a Basher video. This looked like the game I would play until I died. And now this game has ironically died. This video is made by Wicked Wiz. Sub and like.
Beautiful game made by a husband and wife that's been 8 years in the making, with
11 years now, technically. I don't know if they're still making it.
developers going missing and a community scratching their heads as to what the hell went wrong. I'm Wicked Wiz, being a man of my word and standing outside your house. This is what went wrong with Cube World, an amazing game with a lot of promise, poor developer communication, and a final release that nobody was expecting.
I'm gonna quickly summarize what happened with Cube World. Cube World came out in an alpha. Beautiful game. It was like an RPG cube land adventure with classes, movement, etc. And then over the course of several years, the development process or communication was like rather sparse. It wasn't really the developer. I think his name is Wolfe. He would kind of like show new features, dungeons, new weapons, new whatever, right? New biomes, new animations, whatever. But then when the game officially came out, the core gameplay of the game was so different than what was in the alpha that people hated it.
Because there are essentially two versions of this game, the alpha and the final release, I'm gonna try
I love the alpha. The official release sucked.
and explain the game as broadly as possible, because although these two versions share a lot in common, both are very different, which we'll look into in a bit. Cube World, in the grand scheme of things, is a procedurally
For those that don't know what is the main difference between the official game and the official release and the alpha was like an open world RPG. You could level up, get new skills, different biomes, items, right? In the official release, I could be wrong, and I'm pretty sure he's going to cover it in this video. In the official release, they completely changed that. No longer an open world. Instead, the world was segmented by like biomes or areas. And the loot you get in a biome or area was like region locked. You couldn't bring that gear to a new area. I know it's a little bit different. Like I think there was like level depreciation or the gear was not as strong. But the idea was the loot in one area could not be used technically or properly in the next area, and it like killed me, dude. Like I hated that. It was so bad. I played it with a couple of mods and it kind of solved it, but like it just ruined what the alpha was. And I feel like a lot of people went into the game thinking that the alpha would just be the alpha, more things, but the developer changed like the core gameplay loop, and that's why I, like other people, just didn't like it. I think I covered a couple of the details wrong. He will cover this.
generated
This is a good YouTube video.
RPG with unlimited exploration. The concept is straightforward. You start off with barely anything, explore a cute yet dangerous world, encounter both friendly and hostile NPCs, do quests, and find loot. Rinse and repeat. The map is big and split up into multiple procedurally
Oh my
generated
gosh, I miss this game so goddamn much. This game is so beautiful. Oh,
regions, and when I say this map is big, I mean it's really big, because without a mount you could run for a good 10 minutes to get from one point of interest to another. There are 4 different classes to pick from.
I think nowadays this game doesn't look as impressive, but like 8 to 10 years ago, oh my goodness, this game looked insane.
From the warrior, ranger, mage, and the rogue.
I played mage. Mage was really cool. You can do like water magic or fire magic, and water magic healed you, and I love that.
Each with their own unique playstyle and choice of 2 swappable specialisms. Character customization allows you to play as a few different races, with my favorite being the frog because frogs are cool. Neither one of these races come with any base stats, at least from what I see, which is nice to see in an RPG and gives you freedom of choice without worrying about any meta. The combat mechanics are simple yet largely skill based. Left click is your quick basic attack, and right
Combat in this game was so hard. Whenever you found a really scary enemy, I remember they had like skull bowls. Dude, you would run. It's like seeing a grizzly bear in real life. I love that about this game. It looked so cute, but it was so hard. But like enemies would chase you across several fucking regions. You would take so much damage. You could like insta die, lose a bunch of stuff. It was terrifying, but I love that about this game. Dude, I kind of want to revisit the game. Revisit the alpha, not the official release.
right click is your slower, heavier attack. You can roll away from trouble like it's Dark Souls and chug potions during combat to give your feeble
it's
self
still
any
beautiful
kind of a
nowadays.
chance. The aim of the game is quite simply to explore, obtain better gear, and progress throughout all the different regions. Kind of. And I say that because this is where things get a little bit complicated and the story begins. Our story starts all the way back in 2011, where a man named Wolfram von Funk, also known as Wole, would start development on a game called Cube World. In June of 2011, he released 4 videos on YouTube. These short videos, along with now deleted blog posts, would circulate online and quickly gain interest from a newly forming fan base. His wife Sarah joined in, leading the art design, and for the next couple of years, screenshots of the game would be released on Wole's blog.
Dude, I remember seeing these screenshots come out. I used to stalk the blog because I was waiting for the game to come out eventually. And then when the game came out, I was, sorely disappointed, unfortunately. Like, even nowadays, I would argue it looks better than some games.
In July of 2013, the alpha version of the game was released. Although weirdly enough, it wasn't mentioned or announced on Twitter, but either way, once people found out about it, the game sold pretty quick. So much so that the server was overloaded and Wole had to close the store as nobody was able to access the page.
Damn, this is actually, what a great way to think about it in like video game wise. This was during a time when Discord wasn't a thing yet, like officially super popular. This was during a time where, yeah, Steam was around, but like most games still had their own independent store page. I think nowadays when you think about a game having their own page, like Vintage Story, I think that's a little bit more uncommon now. It's so weird to think about it. Like, for example, when I went into high school and I came back into gaming and making YouTube videos and actually buying more games and trying new games, Steam, Epic Games Store, Xbox Game Pass on the PC, there's so many avenues to buy and play different games now, whereas before it was so much more interesting and harder to get. I mean, then again, the internet develops at a rather insane pace, but also it's just so interesting to see that, like, wow, this game was on an independent store page. Holy crap, dude, that's so insane to think about. Also, I don't know, it's just insane to see how like gaming has changed platform wise. Like, imagine in 10 years, what if Steam's not a thing anymore? I think Steam will still be a thing. I mean, Steam has so many avenues of making money. Steam, the Steam Cube, the Steam's Monopoly. I think Cube World was ahead of its time. This game is beautiful even nowadays. If this game got an actual proper, I think the developer is making a different release. I'm going to check that out later. I think it's called Cube World Omega, whatever it is. I don't even know if it's going to work out. I feel like this game, if it came out now as is, like if the alpha released now, it would still do relatively successful.
Would prove to become a bit of an issue later on down the line and could also be the cause to a lot of what went wrong with this game. The alpha build of the game was and still is pretty damn solid. Granted, there isn't that much content, but it will keep you going for a long while. The combat feels fluid and is pretty damn fun. You can fight much harder enemies like these cows in the background, take them on with pure skill, or be a coward like me and get the whole village to help you out. Progression in this build is truly limitless.
Is there someone fixing Cube World? I don't know. I've heard of rumors of people making mods and doing that type of stuff. From my understanding, I do know that you can play the game with mods to replicate the alpha, but there's more content. However, I tried that out 3 years ago, so it might be different now.
Twitter for this project and for Wole was everyone's main source of communication and progress for the game.
I think one of the biggest things that was like not the fault of Cube World or the developer, it was just the fact that this was, I think, a passion project. Imagine if you made a passion project, everyone loved it, and they beg you to make more. But then at that point, it's not a passion project, it's an obligation, because now the entire world is forcing you to do that one thing. I mean, like, for example, like, look at Danny. Like, obviously there's like some speculation that Danny is Vetinat who made Megabonk, but I feel like that the obligation to create a passion project it's just not a passion project anymore. And I feel like that's probably what happened. Like, well, I'm positive this was a passion project. He made it, posted it, showing it off, super cool. Then it sold so much more than he realized, to the point where now it's just not a passion project.
There were some screenshots on his blog, but not much else. Because people were worried, Wole would come back in October with one tweet to assure everybody that they're still working on the game. This would continue until January of 2014, where a big update for a questing system was teased. Now,
I remember being here. I remember
January
this.
Of
2014, was I in 7th grade? I remember when they were introducing quests. I don't think it ever came out.
Big update for a questing system was teased. Now, this was pretty exciting because everybody had something to look forward to. This was it. The game was going to be even better than before. Wole releases a trailer for this new big update. It
I
looked
remember
pretty
this.
cool, and it was a relief to see some progress on this new update. Sure, the communication was more spaced.
Do you guys remember Trove? Crazy shot in the dark, but Trove, it looked like Cube World, but it was like significantly more pay to win. I used to play Trove for hours with my little brother. We played, like, they had like classes, like skills, dungeons, but then it just became so pay to win with everything. It was crazy. You'd play Trove. Trove, dude, I think if you go on Steam, Trove is still on Steam, but I think the ratings are unbelievably low now. I genuinely think it's just because it's pay to win.
Out than before. People can rest assured that the game is clearly being worked on. But shortly after this video, Wale just disappeared.
Old Trove was so good. Yeah, I remembered it. I remember playing it. The grind is, I remember it. I remember grinding Trove for hours, loved the game, and then they just kept adding more stuff and it was just, ugh.
This wasn't another month without a tweet or a screenshot. He was just gone. No updates, no posts, no nothing. With no updates to the alpha being released, there was nobody to experience any of it. This would become a much bigger problem for a whole other reason, which...
Why didn't Wale hire more people? If he was, I mean, obviously I don't know him, but it sounds like he could have just hired someone to maintain the website, hire playtesters, hire someone else to work with him. I truly do believe it was just the fact that it was a passion project that he didn't do any of that. Because I feel like if you approach this with the idea of like, okay, well, I'm building this game. I know I wanted to eventually sell everywhere. I think you would hire more people. And also, I think he sold the game anyway. Like, the alpha wasn't free. You had to buy a game key to download it. I feel like at that point you would have enough funds and enough capital to hire. Maybe he did hire more people. I mean, I don't know the guy, right? And I never made a game before.
We'll understand very soon. Or should I say, after the next couple of years of radio silence. Because on the 2nd of July 2017, Wale would leave yet again with no sight or sound. Again, the silence would fall, and Cube World would continue to be more of a mystery than anything else. And to add to this, the game was no longer...
Let's actually, hold up. Let me, I want to see the Steam page for Cube World. Oh, shit. Dude, mostly negative 5,000 reviews. Waited since childhood, can barely stomach a couple hours of playtime. I played this a lot during the alpha. I loved it with all my heart and soul, but this final version, seeing the state of the game today was more painful than a brick flying into your balls. The developer hasn't delivered on a single promise in the 10 years I followed the game. The whole game is a wasted opportunity. You'd probably have more fun watching a $20 bill burn. Hey, it's a good review. For what it's worth, I still love the game. I understand it's flawed. I understand it's near abandoned. I can't let it go. Call it what you want. Shared it with my brother. We both own it, and hell, once in a blue moon we play it together. I joke about it. Bad game. Here's my positive. Dude, this is so sad. All right, here's what I'm talking about this full release. There is progression in one region at a time, excluding pets, money, and levels. You always start over in a new region. Because of that, your legendary grade items aren't worth crap. It feels like there's less content than in the alpha because of that. That's the thing. It's like when you in an open world RPG, how is your progress limited to an area? Dude, this is last you heard, Wale is trying to recreate Cube World on Unreal. Yeah, but like, how long is that gonna take? He took years to just get the alpha and then officially the omega or the official release out.
Were available as it was just taken off the store. As time went by, more theories would continue to stew within the community. People wanted to know what was going on. People really wanted to know if this game was ever going to be released and if their money was well spent on the alpha. But as you could probably guess by now, that was short-lived because Wale again went absolutely silent. But this time,
how much did Cube World sell? If Cube World sold millions of copies, couldn't he have theoretically either like retired or taken more time off to work on the game? Because it sounds like it was a passion project. He didn't have enough time to do anything. No, that doesn't sound right. Some numbers are saying 7 million, 5 million. I feel like if he sold so many copies, he could have just taken the time off to whatever, dude. That's, I don't know. I'm not a game dev. I've tried Godot. I tried coding. It's hard.
But on the 7th of September 2019, a strange blog post would come from Wale that would explain what's been going on for the past few years. When I released Cube World back in 2013 on our homepage, I was enthusiastic to finally share my game with you. It was a dream come true for me. I wanted to be a game developer ever since I was a kid. As some of you might remember, we got DDoSed as soon as we opened the shop. It might sound silly, but this...
Okay. That kind of makes sense. PTSD from getting DDoS.
With anxiety and depression ever since. Social media didn't improve it, as you might imagine.
Yeah, I mean, if your primary way of communicating was on Twitter,
Still not sure if it's a good idea to tell the world about it, but I wanted to give the fans an explanation. There were several points in the past years I considered releasing an update, but every time I was afraid it wasn't good enough. I'm also a bit of a perfectionist, and it made me rework everything from scratch several times. I think one of the main reasons as to why Wale would just disappear for a while from Twitter would also be due to the negativity that he got online. People were
yeah, dude, that's insane. That is so much hate. Every day, release the update, release the update, release the... I would have killed myself.
When they are passionate about a project, but there were legitimate questions as to what was going on. On the 6th of September, Wale would announce that Cube World would be released on Steam very soon. Later that month, on the 20th, the fanbase was blessed with the official Cube World release trailer. This was a 4-minute long video showing off the game along with all the new features that were added to it throughout the past few years. And it was a sigh of relief for a lot of people. There was so much hype surrounding this that even Mr. Beast left a comment. And then only 10
What? Mr. Beast?
days after that, Cube World was finally released. People could finally play all these new updates, all these new changes that they've been hyped for so long. But this is where things take a darker turn because, oh boy, this was one hell of a surprise. Immediately, people noticed there was something off about the game. It looked similar, but almost reworked in a way. The mechanics seemed remade. There were a bunch of promised features missing, as detailed in this Reddit post. But in the Steam release, you don't gain XP via killing monsters. You only level up by finding and collecting artifacts.
And then when you move into new areas, they're bazinga gone, dude.
But the worst thing about this release is that your items were region locked, meaning that all the good gear you collected is useless the moment you cross over to another region.
Yep, that is an adventure game, but your items are region locked. Oh my gosh. God, dude, that it makes me so sad thinking about it. Honestly, if they didn't have, if that was the one thing that they didn't have, if everything else was like you just kept everything, there's no region lock, I think the game would have been received so much more better. Yeah, there's a lot of changes, a ton of changes, but I think if that's like the big thing, an adventure game with region lock, what?
People, of course, weren't happy about this, and a lot of other little things too. The reviews for this game are currently mixed for a reason. There were a lot of strong emotions going around.
Every review that I see, it just literally says the early access is more fun. Like that's just fucking insane,
for what just happened. The expectations for this game were subverted, and it left a lot of people just feeling down about the whole situation. Adding to this,
it also doesn't help that this game was literally like in development for like years. Like no updates or sparse updates on Twitter. Game finally comes out super hype, completely different than what you expected.
Thankfully, Cube World does have some sort of community. It's small, but they do have an active Discord. When talking about the issue with the region locked items and gear, they shared a link to me with this mod right here. It's clear that some people...
This is the one I played. I played Cube World Better Progression. It just changes how it is. It makes it more similar to the alpha. It's so good. It actually makes it playable. That's what I played when I played Cube World, I think 3 years ago.
Although it's still being sold for about $20 and...
$20 is a scam. That's about the $20 is a scam, bro.
Doesn't have a workshop page, meaning that you're gonna have to do a little bit more to mod the game.
Dude, when I went into the Discord of Spectrums and Invisimals, dude, those games have not had a sequel in years. Dude, people are still talking about it. It's just those games that just stick with you, you know? Like I think when I'm 30, I'll still be thinking about Fossil Fighters. Surely there's some people out there that would do the same thing for Cube World.
So what went wrong? If it wasn't obvious, quite a few things, but I believe the main...
What went wrong? Lack of communication, changing so many features, taking years to make an actual like update come out with all those things being different. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know the process of game development. I don't know how hard it is, but I feel like Wale, with the money he had, could have hired more people. Maybe $20 for what came out was a scam. Yeah, like I think a big thing is just the fact that the developer promised so many different things and it wasn't in the game. I saw like when you were on Twitter back then, like when I was a kid looking at the updates on Twitter, the dungeons, more pets, more quests, more things to do, right? So many crazy things were at the time during for gaming, right? Like at that moment in time, like what was coming out? Black Ops 3, not even, right? Call of Duty Ghosts. Those games always Cube World was doing a bunch of things right, and it looked good, and it was promising so many things where it was just like, wow, this game is amazing. And then it came out, and a lot of those promises weren't there. The base game that everyone loved wasn't there. $20 fucking dollars.
Left with an early alpha version of the game. And although there were signs of progression with new updates promised along the way, nobody had a chance to experience any of it. Wale said it himself. He's a perfectionist. Someone who won't settle for anything less. He kept working on the game until
Terraria came out in 2011. Yeah, but I would argue that Terraria, the base Terraria, was not fun. I think Terraria became really fun around like 1.1 and 1.2. When Terraria first came out, I hated the game. I played it when it first came out. I didn't like it. But at the time, when you compare 2011 Terraria to Cube World just looks insane. It looks better. Not to say that Cube World is better. It just looks better. It's 3D. You can walk around, super vibrant. The promise of the alpha compared to the other game looks really good, right? Whereas Terraria was just like a 2D resprited Final Fantasy like game. It looked ass. Nowadays, obviously Terraria looks beautiful, but back then, Cube World, in relation to the other games around it, there was not a lot of other games that were doing what Cube World did. Eventually Trove came out, but Trove is
till it was perfect to his standard, which is a process that I'm all too familiar with myself. You keep wanting to add new things to it. You keep thinking, oh, I need to add this, oh, this is not perfect, no, I need to change this, and any deadline that you have for yourself just gets pushed back further and further. The only people really testing this game were just him and his wife. There was a beta test at some point, but this was short-lived as the release came out soon after. When you build a game for yourself, anything goes. But when you make a game that people will buy, then communication is a must. It was 6 years since the last update for the—
Dude, I should have been his marketing intern, dude. Fucking type it on Twitter. I really do believe he should just hire more people. Like, there's no way he didn't have the money to. I keep repeating that point. I've heard of a game called Valorant. I checked it out. It's supposed to be like a reimagining of Cube World. I don't know if it's good. I tried it like a couple of years back. I didn't like it. Maybe I'll check it out.
The way that the game was always going to be, then I doubt the response would have been so negative. But that's only if the developer made it clear from the start, or at least somewhere down the line. I do honestly hope for the best for Wale, because it's clear that he did struggle throughout the whole process of this game. This is a passion project that a lot of people also got on board with, and I think the pressure and the attention surrounding it, the expectations from the community, and the anxiety about failure got to Wale in the end. But that is all for today.
Good video. So I do know he made an update about Cube World Omega. I'm not gonna watch it because I don't think we'll have enough time. But yeah, they're remaking it on a new engine. One of those things that feels like it's part of every game dev catastrophe story. Quick year— oh wow, someone made an update. Quick year later update. Wale hasn't posted anything on Twitter for a year till the 11th of August of this year, 2025. Stayed radio silence, at least on Twitter. Seems he's not only working on what it was shown here, but in an engine that allows him to work with 3D. I hope bro pulls a No Man's Sky and releases an actual game worth the money, but everything tastes and smells familiar. Let bro cook. Literally a decade later, Lamau. Yeah, it's cooked.